Hi, welcome to this week's Black Rocket eSports stream. Today we are at Montgomery Community College at the Rockville campus. Our two competitors today are Otto and David. Before we get into the action, I'd like to remind our viewers that our weekend tournament is going to start at midnight Eastern Time. You can join in to win some in-game experience. Winners will be announced at the end of the week. Remember to vote on today's game by logging in through blackrocket.com/esports, selecting the vote button, and entering the room code provided below. Now, before, if you were able to watch our stream, we had Henry and Tommy face off. Henry was the victor there, so we'll see him in later rounds of the tournament, and we'll be right back with this stream once both players are ready for the draft. Alright everyone, welcome to the draft. The action is on Otto. He has the first pick. Both players seem to have a lot of these blocks unlocked right now. I'm not sure if that's just for the stream, but they have a wide access to choose from here. Each player has 15 seconds to make their selection each turn. We'll see here what Otto's interested in, which is 1 second to go. Okay, he is choosing the vacuum. Usually players choose the fan, so I am happy to see that the vacuum will be chosen. From David, we see the disappearing block and the moving block. That's his second and third pick of the match. And action moves back to Otto to choose the fourth and final block. 10 seconds to go here. We'll see what he is eyeing up. At cannon, shooting from both sides. We saw that last game as well. Locking key, not popular. We haven't seen too many players actually choose that before. Pretty interesting. He's looking at the spikes now. It's usually a staple that is chosen. And now, the fifth and final block will be random or based off of the votes that you cast prior to the vote. Or prior to the match beginning, I apologize. Fifth and final block is the cannon. I love the cannon. Definitely one of my favorite blocks here. Players jump into that and then can get shot out at a random angle that can help them get past some obstacles that each player builds. Very cool. Hopefully we see some players make use of it here as we move into the building phase. Each player having 3 minutes to design the map any way they choose. You see the fan blocks, or I apologize, the vacuum blocks coming out from Otto to start. He's trying to stack 2 vacuums on top of each other and block off that topmost gem on that left-hand side. Now using those disappearing blocks to case in that gem to the top right. I like the vacuum strategy. I haven't seen too many players use it. It's going to be pretty forceful, so I think the strategy here, if I was David, would be to get onto that orange pipe, try to climb my way up, and then jump to the green just past those vacuums. As you can notice, they're both facing opposite ways, so if you're able to jump pretty fast, should be able to sneak through and gather that gem. Go take a look at David, see what he has cooking over here. Wow, look at all those disappearing blocks. Very similar to, I believe it was Tommy earlier in the day who had this similar strategy. This is very, very difficult to get around, especially if you're seeing it for the first time, as Otto will be. It's going to be really hard for him to remember where the disappearing blocks are and try to figure out the fastest path to the gems. If you see a map that's really heavily guarded by your opponent, one strategy could be just to follow that player around the map. You know, right out of the gate, check out the path he's going to choose or she's going to choose and just follow in suit. And whichever way they go will probably lead you to the path of least resistance. And that could be a strategy in a map that you feel like you might have a disadvantage in. Alternatively, you can make use of your hammers. Get rid of some hard objects preventing you from gathering some gems, and that will give you an advantage as those objects will not be removed for your opponent. Just 1 minute to go here in the building phase. Both players are making complete use out of all the materials they can. As you see, David is almost maxed out, and Otto is just over halfway now. Only 45 seconds to go. We're going to take a look at Otto, see how he wraps things up. Let's go through his gems. Top left has them locked down with 2 vacuums. Bottom left, you see those disappearing blocks casing in the right pathway to that gem. Players are going to have to jump out to the left, scale down that wall, and then gather that gem and possibly Instead of scaling back up, jumping off the cliff to respawn their player or pressing R might be quicker in this situation rather than climbing all the way back up. Let's take a look at the gems over to the right. Top right gem, cased in just by those disappearing blocks. The master, or the 5th gem, not protected at all. And I like the spikes that are going to make it pretty difficult to jump down and gather that 4th gem on the bottom right. We are now moving into the play phase of the game. Let's see whose map is chosen first as we load in here. So I see some vacuums, so I believe this is Otto's map. So we're going to follow him around first. We're going to see what path he chooses and see if David follows along. Otto, moving up through the top of the map, just jumps all the way down, lands on a disappearing block, is now trying to get that lower gem, but he's not able to do it. So that's good. He remembered he left that gem pretty exposed besides those disappearing blocks. He scales back down, and now we're going to see what he does. This is what we talked about just before the match started. He made a good call and just jumped off. That resets him to the top of the map. And now you see David, who's going to try to do the same thing. David says, hey, this is where Otto went. It's his map. Let me just follow him and get that gem. And he does very shortly after. Now you notice right now Otto's winning. That's because he got that gem first. He's going to be awarded more points for doing so. Let's check out David now. David moving toward that lower quadrant of that map. Look at him. He spots that gem surrounded by disappearing blocks. He thought it was wide open. It's going to be extremely difficult to get to. That wall jump lands him in spikes, and he will be reset. Just 38 seconds to go. Both players tied at 1 gem apiece. Moving in towards that cannon. I'd love to see a player get shot out of it. He's going to go cannon to cannon. Isn't able to make it rotate. A very difficult effect. Like I said, I think David's playing it well right now. He's just staying still, waiting for the effect to die out, and then is going to make his next move. Just 19 seconds to go, gets caught on the spikes. Not going to be able to get that second gem. Just 15 seconds to go here, and we have Otto leading by a very narrow margin. If either player is able to gather some gems here in the final 10 seconds of the match, they will be ahead, moving into David's map. Just 4 seconds. That was an excellent cannon jump. That was by Otto. He is going to be able to get his second gem of the match. That was an amazing play. I'm not sure if that was something planned out prior to the match, but he hit that, timed that jump perfectly. That was excellent to watch. Now we'll move on to David's map. Take a look at him first, and he quickly responds with getting a gem of his own. See if he's going to be able to get the second one as well. See Otto just trailing behind. Otto's very cautious right now because he doesn't know this map. Well, all those disappearing blocks make it extremely difficult to navigate. He's trying to remember where they are. You know, where can I go? What can I get around? Where can I use my hammers? Now both players seem to be stuck on that red pipe. Just that curved red pipe plays very difficult with the disappearing blocks. Lights out, and David just says, you know what, I'm just going to restart. Jumps off the cliff and will respawn. Both players tied at 2 gems now. Otto still with a narrow lead. Just 47 seconds to go. We're going to focus in on David and see if he's going to be able to make a comeback here. He's his gem. He knows it's blocked in by disappearing blocks. He is able to get it, and for the first time, David is in the lead with just 30 seconds to go. We're going to switch back to Otto, see if he's going to be able to bring things back. Quake is chosen. Pretty good environmental block, but look at this! David's able to get his 4th and final block. Now, if he's able to just get up to the top of the map, gather that 5th and final gem, this match will be over. David with a spectacular comeback. See if Otto's just able to climb up here. This is very close. Both players wall jumping. Is David going to be able to get there? And he does. So David walking away with that victory. We saw some spectacular stuff during that match. As always, thank you to everyone at Montgomery County Community College for putting this together with us today. And please remember, our tournament is going to begin at midnight tonight. Get in there, and the top 3 players will be awarded with in-game experience. Have a good weekend, everyone.